Hello, hello, hello. Louise Eddington here, Cosmic Owl Astrology, Wisdom Weaver, all those things. Hello, starry watchers, beings. I feel I'm finally getting over the travel and the jet lag. Oh, getting back to normal. And today I am going to talk to you about the Capricorn full moon that is coming up on July the 10th. But before I do, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the bell to stay updated on all the things. Consider joining my Spiral Weave membership. It's still at $6.99 here on YouTube. On Substack, it's already gone up to $9.99 a month because I haven't figured out how to do it on YouTube yet. but yeah, silly me. But anyway, also my book series, it's going a bomb. I've sold there it is. I've sold over 80 signed pre-orders yet so far. I've ordered 150 copies for now, and I've put the general publication date back to August the 12th because the astrology's better. Only me would go, hey, I've got this. I can do all these things. I can self-publish my first book and go to England and all these other travels and get it all done. Well, I couldn't. So this gives me a bit of time. It helps me to get these lovely signed pre-orders out before the general publication date. So if you would like to pre-order a signed copy, then you can do so at sacredthreadsimprint.com/series. There'll be a link below. And I'll be personally signing and mailing every one of them. I'm going to be busy doing that, but that's okay. Anyway, it's going down a bomb. I also did a live stream reading the forward, which the amazing Steve Judd wrote for me. He really loved the book. So onwards. This week, well, it's not this week, it's on this full moon. Holy, holy, holy. It's a big one. It may not look so huge on the face of it, but it is. But before we do, I will mention that I pulled, oh, where's my card? Here it is. The Nine of Blades. I'll do a full reading of this card at the end. I'm also going to look at the symbols and all the things, but this is the Nine of Blades. So just kind of look at this. This is the dark night, but look at those butterflies. We are going through this major shift and rebirth. So I'll read the whole thing about the card later. But this is the shadowy portal where it feels like everything is unraveling, and doesn't it feel that way right now? But maybe, just maybe, that's when the truth can get in. Anyway, let that land for now. Okay, so one more other reminder. We have a first Thursday Ask Me Almost Anything call in the Spiral Weave, and I'm recording this on July the 2nd, and it's tomorrow afternoon, July the 3rd. So let's look at the chart and do the astrology breakdown before I look at everything else. This full moon is on July the 10th at 18 degrees 48 minutes of Capricorn, and I will share the chart in a minute. So 1 plus 8 is 9. So of course I pulled a 9 card as well, right? So the 9 of Blades, which is the swords. 9 is endings, it's completion, it's about learning to say no. And a full moon is also kind of fulfillment and completion as well. But 9 is also a number of universal love and faith, universal spiritual laws, and the concepts of karma and service to humanity and all those kind of things. So, this is bringing something to a big end, and we're seeing a lot of endings right now. So let's look at the chart first, okay? And I do want to say something big about this, but let me share this chart. So here is the chart for the Capricorn full moon. It's actually on a 10-day, which is new beginnings. So we've got endings and beginnings, which are new and full moons always are. But they often relate back to prior moments. And when I first looked at this full moon, I was like, oh, this is at the exact same degree as the Venus star point from January 2022. And as that was a retrograde star point, I was doing my Venus class at that time. And it was so that means that after the star point, Venus rose as morning star, which is said to be more warrior like. And we had the invasion of Ukraine by Russia. Now, I'm going to go into more detail on this with Kathy, probably, but there's a lot going on with Russia at the moment. Putin made a statement which is unlike him at all about the US economy, about the Russian economy, talking about how, it's basically struggling, which most of us know. Now, this full moon is 5 minutes from exact to that Venus star point from January 2022. And we've got this Saturn Neptune conjunction, which is pretty close and exact early next year. I do wonder if all of these things are going to bring an end to this invasion, or at least a big change. We'll see. Could even be, the big change within Russia itself. But Cassie and I will be looking more at those kind of things. But for us, of course, as well, this is a Capricorn full moon. Capricorn is really about tenaciousness and conservative in the more healthy kind of way, wanting to conserve what we've got. It's also about especially with it being a 9, this is about kind of this healthy no, saying this is not working for me. And I think about what's happening out in the world with the rise in autocracy and how the or oligarchy, and how they are trying to cling on to the power of the hierarchy with their fingernails. And I've long said I don't think they're going to. Now, does this mean that everything's going to collapse on this full moon? Probably not, but it's another step in that process, right? So just hold that in your mind, okay? But otherwise, it's Capricorn. This is prudent, constant. It's about keeping going, plodding, going along, saying, this is what I want to preserve and build. Okay, and also the sun's in Cancer, which is also quite a conservative sign in wanting to conserve in the healthiest way, the best of what we have. Now then, quickly before I stop sharing the chart, the closest aspects to this full moon are that the moon is sextile the North Node and Nessus, and I will talk to that in a minute, and trine the South Node in Virgo. But I'm going to say as well that this is widely square because of other things that are coming up. Widely square, all this Aries energy that we've got. So even though these squares are rather wide, I am going to kind of talk about them a little bit. But I will say it's at 18 degrees, and the nodes will be back at 18 degrees through the next lot of eclipses. So this is going to be bringing some big shifts and change, okay? Also, no, I'm not going to even mention that, but you can see the vaguely, you can see the squares, but I think it is. I think because we've got such strong cardinal energy right now, which Capricorn and Cancer are cardinal signs, initiating, starting new things. I think I'm going to look at these squares to Aries because we have some new beginnings coming. Okay, I'm going to stop the share and I need to go back to my other window. So it's widely square, Eris and Chiron and Ceres, I'm going to say, and activating the nodes of fate. So this moon isn't just a turning point, really it's a pivot in the spine of collective evolution. I say spine because Capricorn is very much about structures as well, our structures. Okay. So the moon, square Eris in Aries, I'm going to say it's square. The feminine face of discord stirs. I say feminine, even though I'm trying to find another word for that, but let's say the more gentle, the more kind of, well, not gentle, because Eris is powerful, but it's that more kind of creative energy of the yin or the night energy in Eris. Dark night again. This square brings righteous disruption and rage to the surface. And we can feel that building as I record this 8 days before this full moon, right? And of course, between the full moon and, now and the full moon, Neptune is stationing retrograde. Uranus is moving into Gemini. We're in this point of big change. Anyway, so the moon square to Eris, which will occur shortly after the full moon, really exactly, is really about this righteous disruption and rage rising, especially if you've been playing nice while your soul simmers. This could bring protests, unsurprisingly, uprisings, and inner revolutions. Think I will not stay silent anymore. And then the moon will also square Chiron because Eris and Chiron are really moving closely together. And this hits the wound of I have to do it all alone or I'm not strong enough. But it also opens a portal for healing through witnessing, just as those 9 of blades pierce into that dark night of the soul, right? Where have you been holding stoic silence? And where can vulnerability become strength? But then the sextile too, and also I'm going to briefly mention the square to Ceres. This is about meeting our own needs. And incidentally, I'm just having a chat with a friend, and Steve Judd said something to that effect on a video I listened to this morning about really we are all we have in many ways, and we have to make sure we our needs are met. That doesn't mean we have to do everything alone, but we are the only one. We are this self-contained being in the middle of this quantum interconnected universe, and really we are the only ones that can make sure our needs are met. Anyway, so the moon sextile the North Node in Pisces and Nessus. This is gorgeous, aligning with the evolutionary axis, with Nessus, the centaur, going, the buck stops here, I've had enough, and helping us to release perfectionism, overwork, and martyrdom, and also that kind of victimhood kind of energy. That's the Virgo South Node in its shadow, and move towards trust, surrender, and sacred dreaming. And with Saturn and Neptune also in Pisces, and Saturn being the guide for the Capricorn full moon, when the two are approaching that conjunction early next year, and both are turning retrograde at the early degrees of Pisces, this aspect gently reminds us your soul's work is bigger than your to-do list. And in fact, Saturn stations retrograde just 3 days after this full moon. So this Capricorn full moon is a powerful reckoning, I think, in many, many ways, not just with our personal goals, but with our collective soul contract. It hits that same degree as the Venus morning star that ushered in 2022's chaos and war, and now squares Eris, Chiron, and Ceres in Aries, demanding that we feel the grief, the rage, and the hunger for something different. The systems are cracking, not just because they're old, but because they're too small for who we are becoming. We have this amazing opportunity right now with all that's happening in the cosmos to really become something very special, or all that we were meant to be. So the moon's sextile to the north node and trine to the south node also offers another invitation. Let go of over functioning and step into flow. Let go of shame and choose self compassion. Let go of the myth that you are alone. You are alone, even though you are a self contained lone structure in all these bouncing molecules that we live in. But you are also part of something greater. This moon says the structures are shifting personally, globally, and mythically. Now then, I'm going to read the symbols for this moon as well, but I want to read you the full book meaning of this card. This deck is so special to me. Red Threads Tarot on Etsy in the UK. So I got chills, literal chills, when I pulled this card. This dark night of the soul energy, because Capricorn has that kind of dark energy, but not dark in a horrible way. Capricorn is kind of like dark colors, it's boundaries, it's all those kind of things. But this is right on cue with this Capricorn full moon making all its aspects. Like the cosmos is handing us a mirror and saying it's time. Time to name the grief, to face the fracture, to grieve what we tried to carry alone. So let me read from this book. I want to read you the quotes first of all. The darkness of the night implies nothing sinister. Only that the liberation takes place in hidden ways, beneath our knowledge and understanding. It happens mysteriously, in secret, and beyond our conscious control. For that reason, it can be disturbing or even scary, but in the end, it always works to our benefit. And that's from Gerald G. May, The Dark Night of the Soul. Now, there's one other quote I want to read you. There can be no rebirth without a dark night of the soul and a total annihilation of all that you believed in and thought that you were. That's by Hazrat Inayat Khan. Hope I'm saying that right. So, I'm not going to read you. No, I am. One night you may encounter a descent into darkness and find yourself very disturbed and anxious. And that would be the swords piercing here, which is often our thoughts. A loneliness that cannot be described may surround you. Feelings of worry, guilt, self-doubt, and shame may rise up and pierce you so hard that you cry out in pain. Your mind will spin from the visceral sense of fear and terror. Regrets and uncertainties will rain down upon you, and despair will penetrate your mind. Sounds awful, right? But wait. This all feels torturous, but it has woken you up. For the dark night of the soul is a nightmare that offers you an awakening. In the darkness, you will be made to dig deep, thinking, reflecting, and releasing your troubles, conflicts, and sufferance out into the stale air that hangs heavily around you. A transformation will be taking place, allowing you to abandon what does not serve you anymore. Your dark night of the soul will offer you the freedom to find a deeper level of truth, contentment, and joy in your life. You will see more clearly, for you will have found the light in your own darkness that holds your unleashed, unknown potential. Clarity will arise, and then when you are ready, you will take a great leap of faith. Be not afraid of the dark night of the soul. And really, that says to me, we look at what's happening in the world, and it's all quite scary and things, but let it in, deal with this, and let those butterflies in, into those piercing wounds. Butterflies, transformation, freedom, liberation. All right. So I want to read you the symbols now. This full moon is quite astounding to me, especially because of everything else that's going on in the cosmos right now, with Saturn and Neptune both stationing retrograde and moving back into Pisces. We've got a Mercury retrograde coming up, by the way, as well. But also, there's so much change happening. It's a little bit scary, but just lean into it with your backbone straight and say, I've got this. Okay, I can do this. All right. Okay, now let me get to the symbols. So I'm actually going to read you the Sabian symbol first. Okay, for Capricorn 19, we always go up. So it says a child of about 5 with a huge shopping bag. Mark Edmund Jones said this is a symbol of the spiritual stewardship of humans as expressed in their inherent sense of responsibility, that's very Capricornian, for the welfare of others, and in their desire to serve their community to the extreme of their particular range of skills. There is a wonderful recompense for the individual willing to share the total of their potentialities and to enjoy those of their fellows to the limit of their understanding. Their quickening to every opportunity of common function becomes a special self-fulfillment. And the key word is expectation. So when positive, the degree is an effective breadth of participation in everyday living. And when negative, indiscriminate conformity to every passing fad. So hold that space within you. Okay. Now then, we go to John Sandbacher's symbols. First, the Omega symbol. In the night, someone peering into a dark window. It's like you're peering into the windows of your soul, right? There's a deep curiosity here, a desire to understand the private lives and deepest innermost worlds of other people. This degree is investigative and often secretive. It has the ability to be unobtrusive, even to the point of invisibility. And hopefully what will result will be discoveries and uncoverings that will heal and advance the world. And now the Chandra symbol is a half-eaten piece of bread. Will the rest of the bread be eaten, or has one had enough? This degree is about being aware of what is required to sustain life and of knowing the difference between necessary nourishment in all areas versus indulgent gratification. It's a degree that promotes simplicity and economy in all things, but not scarcity. Okay, but it's a paring down to the barest essentials in an attempt to reveal the minimum that is needed for survival. It asks what can be done away with and what is indispensable. Often the dividing line between these two things is not clear and can easily be distorted by fears and desires, which is why this degree so often becomes the person of the corresponding Omega symbol, that peering into the dark window, who peers into the darker corners of the psyche in an attempt to discover the truth. What's in your bag? What's within your soul? What's necessary for your ongoing sustenance and how you can work in the world to do that? Okay. It's rather a powerful Capricorn full moon. And just for you as well, I would say think back to January 2022, to that Venus star point, kind of what began for you back then that may come back in some way now to need some release and letting go of it, because we are always in process, right? None of these energies work alone. No one aspect does it. We are always evolving and changing. So enjoy it. Check out the pre-order link for my book. Check out my Sacred Weave membership. And I love you. And I will see you next time.